All right, it's 6 p.m. on July 23rd. That's all right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. And this is the meeting of the Personnel and Finance Committee at 6 p.m. and we're in the Merrill City Council chambers. Number 2, consider approving minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 25th meeting.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes from the June 25th meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Number 3, approval of vouchers.
Make a motion to approve the vouchers.
I will second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve the vouchers. Is there any discussion or questions?
I only had a few,
Okay.
and she answered them for me, and the rest of you guys are on your own.
I had no questions.
All right, motion's made and seconded to approve the vouchers. All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. General items for consideration. City of Merrill Flexible Facilities Program application. And this is informational from the T.V. Scott Library.
The Wisconsin Department of Administration sent out a notification to libraries and other organizations announcing that they had the Flexibility Spending Program grant. We have been considering for quite some time an outdoor facility next to the library for programming purposes. So that qualifies for that grant. So I made the decision to get a bid for that or get an estimate for that project and applied for the grant. We will know in late September if we were successful or not. So.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the library director?
Just a comment. I think it's a great idea and good luck.
Thank you.
Number 2, consider and discuss the 2025 budget timeline. Anybody know offhand where I lost it. I think the packets have only gotten bigger.
Page 94.
Okay.
94 and 95.
So this is pretty in line with what it looks like we've done in the past, sort of focusing on the capital budget first. We wait for the numbers for the state to come in so we can put together the last pieces of the operating budget.
Is there any way that you could move things up quicker, or instead of just using our past, because we seemed rushed at the end, and we always heard a bunch of reasons why.
I think I'm going to set my excuses up right away. This is my first year doing it. I think I'm going to be a little slow this year.
Okay.
I think I'm trying, I'm getting a good jump on it and starting already, but it is sort of my first year doing this, so I expect I can try, I'll do my best.
We'll give you a
to keep things
pass.
Timely, but
We'll give you a pass this time.
I'm just curious, along that line, when you do this, is it possible for you to put in the numbers that we make our decision, our preliminary thoughts on things, and then the numbers you're still waiting for, I'm assuming you would put in your best estimate for
Yes.
those, or the current, rather than just us looking at, well, here's this number. We can't do anything more until 3 months from now. I want to give you that number, so that we can kind of have an ongoing picture
Yes.
of how it could be working out.
Yep, absolutely. We can do those
Okay.
things.
Okay. And then one other question I have is, how does the city strategic plan fit into this? If there's any implications from that plan that would impact our budget?
I would say unless you're going to focus on something that's in the strategic plan that has a large capital item, I don't see it affecting the budget. And I think we've kind of went through, as far as most of our capital items, department by department, and we've kind of said, don't be asking for anything out of the ordinary, because we feel the next 2 years are going to be fairly trim. So I don't see the strategic plan varying. I mean, we're going to follow our past as far as development. We'll bring everything to RDA and kind of take it as it comes that way, but we don't have anything right now that is going to blow us out of the ballpark as far as budget goes.
Okay.
That includes staffing. I mean, we kind of know where we are staffing-wise, so I don't see anything that should affect the budget that way.
And I've worked places where we've done like set aside like $5,000 for something to be determined. Like if we wanted to say something like a focus for the strategic plan, if there was something we wanted to focus on, you could set some money aside before those decisions are made. That way, at least there's some money somewhere.
Earmarked for it?
Yeah.
In years past, they would do like an all-day budget hearing, and it did not work out at all. So I think we're very comfortable keeping it in the format we've done the last couple of years. So, all right. Any other discussion or questions regarding the budget timeline? Number 3, I don't know what we have to consider because Chief Klug's already got his in and is approved, and the library, I'm sure, is pretty much the same, and this is pretty much cookie cutter stuff. So, does anyone have any questions on those 2 budgets?
I had one question on the ambulance budget. Is that completely from the county, or does the city pick up part of that?
That would be completely from the county.
Okay. Okay.
So essentially, there's 2 budgets that I'll get. I'll get the one designated for ambulance, and then there's the separate one for the fire department. That would be the city's portion
Okay.
of it.
And I think it's helpful when I was learning about this to sort of reiterate that this budget we built is based on the current contract we have. So if costs are growing in other places, the fire department sort of eats up those costs. Any building maintenance, things like that are not covered in the EMS budget, so those expenses don't go in here. Those go into the fire department. We only cover what's covered by the agreement in this budget.
Okay.
Are you both comfortable with what you got from the county?
Nobody is. I'll answer for him.
I'm just asking, like, as a whole, I'm realizing that they're.
So at least in our case of the fire department, like we present to them, they don't give us the budget. We
Right.
work, and I appreciate Emily this year was a little bit told her change for me because I actually sat down with her compared to previous years where I kind of usually just got, hey, here's what it is. So it was good to review it and go over it with her. But yeah, and like Emily mentioned, it's, we're following the current contract that's been in place since 2008.
And I present mine to the county, and ours is set, based upon our checkouts, our circulation. It's a percentage. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and that's by the state.
And it went up 7% this year, so for 2025, the county's giving us more money, which is great news.
We had more county residents outside of the city limits checking out materials, so that decreased the amount that the city will. What is it, 6 point?
I think it was 7.2.
Yeah, 6.7%. 7% increase from Lincoln County and a 5.67 decrease for the city. So.
Okay.
I did, just so that we're all on the same page, I did assume a 2.5% increase for salary expenses. So I put in as a placeholder. And I also assumed 5% increase for insurance costs, health insurance.
For the overall budget or for?
EMS.
EMS.
Well, not for
Okay.
EMS. EMS, I went off of the contract cost for salary, and then I did the 5% health insurance. And then for library, I did 2.5% for salary increase,
Right.
assumed. And I built it so that if we want to change that and play around with different numbers, we can. You just plug in the
Okay.
1.5 and it would automatically calculate through. And I did that for health insurance, 5%. Just the way things are going, I think that's a fair number.
Yep.
The other part at least for us, for the ambulance portion with the county too, is that part of that MOU and contract, even though it's been since 2008, if we were to exceed it, it still allows for overages even. But obviously, when I've worked with the county on that, I administer that budget the same as the fire budget. Obviously, the intent is to always stay within budget, so.
And I do not I'm not jealous of the county and their budget issues for this year and next year, and the fact their finance director just walked out on them. So Good luck, guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
she went back.
I would like to just say that I like to see on the bottom of these where you have the percent of the total budget showing how much goes to personnel and contract and supply. I think that's helpful information for everybody to be able to look at and see.
Yes.
Not that it's surprising, but it's good to be able to put it out there so that people can see what it is.
For people to realize that that's what a majority of our budget goes to is the personnel. It's not, you know, all the frivolous things as people would say. So.
Okay. Item number 4, consider writing off the 2023 personal property tax bill for Grecian Delight, $48.66, and Inked Horizon for $24.33, for a grand total of $72.99.
All attempts to contact these companies, mails come back undelivered, you know, they're out of business. And both dollar amounts are under the SDC threshold, so we couldn't even submit those for state collection. So I'm suggesting we write them off.
I know where Grecian Delight is now.
What's that?
I know his address, mailing address, is on the county website for their GIS, or their Ascent, it's called, because it gives a storefront address in Rib Mountain. But I mean, for $50, we can keep going. But for future use, it's a correct address in there.
So this is the only outstanding taxes that Grecian Delight has. So if if you want me to follow up and see if I can find a better address, I'm happy to do that.
I mean, I can. I remember what's the? Do you have the bill in front of you? That they have the address?
It's 809 North Center Avenue. That's for personal property, though.
Because according to the county, they send his tax bill to 3001 Rib Mountain Drive, Suite E. Edward.
Okay, I'll try that one.
54401.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to do a motion for the inked?
I guess I'll make a motion to write off the Inked Horizons tax bill.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to write off the 2433 from Inked Horizon. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried, and just get back to us next month. He's up to date on all of his taxes. I looked it up and was surprised, because I know a few years ago he was quite far behind, but we're good.
So maybe he just doesn't realize that he has
Yep.
this one as well.
I know I get that one, and every year I bring in my license, like, oh, you haven't paid this one. So I don't know where those things go. Number 5, 2023 tax collection update.
I put this together because this was something that was provided last year, just sort of an overview on how tax collection went and where we're at compared to prior years. Really right on target. Nothing jumping out as unusual or, yay, we're done with tax collection though. That's great. So now all taxes are due to Marathon or to Lincoln County. And we collected 91.3% of taxes. Any questions?
Hearing no questions? Okay, thank you for that. Number 6, review and discuss the 2024 year-to-date City of Maryville WPS charges. Those were handed out to us right beforehand. And I'm not trying to sound smart, but I remember our former city administrator wrote his thesis on how to cut your street lamps bill. I don't know how you can do that, but that's what his thesis was when he went through college. 'Cause obviously, that's quite a bit of money.
So I had gotten the question about if we were on budget with our WPS expenses, and so I just put this together to show. I don't know, if there's other things you want to look at for next time, I'm happy to provide other information.
Considering we were over budget at April portion, where we were on track to be over budget last year. This is good information to see. I guess the only question I have is what's other? What does that all encapsulate, I guess?
Let me think now. I did this on Friday. It is The sirens, it's like these 3 random accounts. Sirens, nothing with parks, nothing with City Hall. Fairgrounds.
So it's just odd amenities basically that we have.
Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, because the sirens make sense, for them
And
to.
it's 2 other random things like that, 2 other random accounts. Darn it.
Oh.
I'll send you an email. I'll send everyone
Okay,
an email.
it's just more of a dumb question. I'm not.
No, it's a fair
I mean,
question.
I mean, I see that it's under 5. That we're at 5% of that budget, so that it's telling me that we're not using that money right now, really. So it's kind of like, well, what are they that they're not getting? That the money's not getting used.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not complaining about money being used, but
I'll follow up with you guys on that.
thank you.
And we had some pretty harsh winters. I think that's why we kept looking at it. So this is great information.
And we had a very light winter this year.
Yes, we
so-
did, and I hope it keeps up. Number 7, discuss and consider the adoption of a City of Merrill investment policy. And it's all about you today.
I guess so. So I put this together because this is something that the auditors have been asking for the last couple of years. It's sort of a yes/no question. Do you have an investment policy? And we have to say, no, we don't. So we put something like this together. It's pretty, it's not telling you exactly what you can invest in, what you can't invest in. It's just, we're following state law, we're following federal law, and we're following city ordinances. So I just sort of combined those 3 things together into a generic investment policy. I found one online at the GFOA website, and then I sort of customized it to our particular situation. 2 things I sort of added myself were quarterly reports to the PNF, and I also said to limit maturities to 5 years. State law is 7 years, just to be a little more conservative. So if anyone has any feedback, there's no rush or timeline to adopt this. We want to think about it, we certainly can. It's just a nice way to, make the auditors happy. And it provides a little bit of governance if we have extra funds that we want to invest.
I'd be comfortable if you guys adopted this by looking at it. I mean, we're going to make the auditors happy with everything, so.
I just had one question when I looked through it, and I maybe missed it, but do you have, because it says something about your kind of primary and some city staff and some personnel type improvements, but is there like a secondary backup who's authorized to do these, to make these transactions, I guess would be the word for it, if something.
Fair point. Yeah, if something happens. We, as like an internal policy, have 2 people on every account, so that there's always one person who can initiate a transaction, the other person approves them. So we always have 2 people. And that would be the same for any of these banking transactions. We'd have 2 people on it.
Okay.
Would anyone like to make a motion to adopt?
So I guess I have a question, just because this is city money, and I mean, can overall help our budget, affect our budget, yada, 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 if we want to invest in stuff. Should this be something that's forwarded to the council for the council to just, or the committee of the whole?
And I
to
think I did
discuss?
put that on the agenda as recommend approval, sending it to council.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that that's.
Oh.
You could do it 2 ways, adopt it here and the minutes are approved. I think it'd probably be nice to have it approved here and then a separate item as on the council.
I agree.
Yeah. I would make a motion to forward this to council recommending approval.
I will second that motion.
Okay, just, motion's been made and second to forward this to City Council with the full council with a recommendation to adopt. Any other discussion? All those in favor of this signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is passed. Monthly reports. Mayor Haas, first on deck.
Be happy to answer any questions.
City Administrator Akey.
Any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Any big announcements soon on big developments coming?
Did have a meeting this morning with the people or the company that we do have some of our property listed with, and there are some things in the works, but again, it's kind of a weird climate as far as elections coming up and people sitting on their hands, and
Can see that.
it's going to be interesting here, what happens.
How's all of our street projects going so far?
Wet, and wet. Saturated to the point where we can't pave O'Day Street until either we dig some out or it dries up a little bit, so, yeah. Any other questions?
City Attorney, or sorry, excuse me, Finance Director Lay.
Any questions on the report?
You can answer my thing.
I did not.
Okay.
Can I request, you have on there about, it would be necessary to do short-term internal borrowing from the sewer and equipment replacement fund. When you do that, or can you just give us a summary of how much you end up borrowing and transferring back and forth in the end, just so we're aware of it?
I think we'll probably, with your permission, do a resolution just so that it's recorded somewhere.
It's probably a good idea.
She had a question regarding borrowing from the city sewer and equipment fund. They do some short-term borrowing, and she said it would come as a resolution.
And we might be fine. I don't know. We got our state aids in this week, and so that was a nice influx of cash right when we needed it. So we might be just fine. We might not need to borrow.
Even better. Any other questions for the Finance Director? City Attorney Hayden flew in all the way in a blizzard just for this meeting.
Absolutely. I've been in Sioux-Lookout in Ontario for about 5 days. Fishing is great, the remote, the wilderness is wonderful. It was horrible. They served breakfast late one day at the lodge. It was awful. I mean, the prime rib dinner the last night we had to go. We had a really good time at a very nice place. I actually caught a couple fish.
Is that what inspired your quote in your report? You almost had a crisis because the dinner was late?
I do want to make one serious comment. That's the young lady that sits there, Krista Mitchell, did a wonderful job. We have a couple of occasionally hard to deal with, shall we call them customers. And she did a beautiful job of handling them in my absence. And she's not going.
I heard your fan club was pretty full yesterday while you were absent, so.
I understand I missed it. Absolutely. It's a heck of a turnout, I guess. Yeah. Probably because they knew I was going to be gone.
Did we have any update? Apparently there was court yesterday, but nobody knew. Anybody have any updates today?
I'll be sending out an update tomorrow.
Okay. Any other questions for the City Attorney? Moving on to City Clerk Anderson Malm.
Happy to answer any questions.
Ready for the August election?
I am, already.
Wonderful.
Not sure about November yet, but I have enough workers, that's good.
That's good to know. We got plenty of time till the November one at this point.
Not
Plenty
really.
of-
Everything starts up in September right away.
Well, I know, but there's plenty of ads to see.
If we had any questions from municipal court, there'd nobody would be here to answer them, so. I'll entertain a motion to place reports on file.
So moved.
I will second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Any public comment this evening? Second call for public comment. And a third and final call for public comment. Our city clerk has indicated the next time we should all gather as a family as one should be August 27th at 6 p.m. Any conflicts?
Probably will not be here because I'm going to be attending my only conference this year. So I will not be here, but I'll get
But the
minutes
rest of you,
from-
go right ahead.
Where is it at? Maybe we'll all go.
It's down in Madison, so
Oh.
probably not.
Okay. I will hope for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second.
Motion made and second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same size, same sign. We are adjourned.